But sometimes the walls in our lives are not made of stones. The walls of our lives today can be a spiritual wall, can be an emotional wall. It can be a personal wall. And these walls, unlike the walls of Jericho, are not visible. We cannot see these walls. We cannot touch these walls. But we know, if you know this message, you know these walls are real. Walls not made of stone, but walls made out of bitterness. Walls that are made out of unforgiveness. Walls that are made out of depression. Walls made out of pride, could be. Walls made out of worry. Walls made out of addiction, trauma, unbelief, and sin in our lives. Walls were not mentioned in the New Testament, but there is another term that Apostle Paul uses. In 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10 to 15, he says here, "For though we live in the world, but we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not weapons of the world. On the contrary, they are divine power to demolish" what? Paul uses the word stronghold instead of wall. In verse number 5, this is how we are going to defeat the wall, all the strongholds. It says there, "For we demolish arguments in every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make obedient to Christ." A wall or a stronghold is a spiritual wall that is built not with stone, not with clay, not with human hands, but it was built in our minds that resist truth and authority of God. Strongholds are patterns that keep us trapped. This is very, very important because also Paul mentioned in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not be conformed on the pattern of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of our minds." So the walls or the strongholds that you and I face today, it's not tangible. We cannot touch it, but it is so real to us. And Paul called it a stronghold. A stronghold is built in our minds. Some of us here, we've been a believer for so long in our lives, but we still have walls. Walls of depression, walls of unbelief, walls of trauma, addiction in our life. Why is that? And we are going to go deeper. Wall or a stronghold is not something you and I can move. If we can move walls, that is not a stronghold. Walls and stronghold is not small. It is not simple. It is not something we can fix with one phone call. A stronghold is not something we can fix in one apology. A stronghold is not something that we can fix in one good idea. What is a stronghold? A situation that does not change overnight. It is a burden that keeps following us. It is that fear that keeps talking to us, the struggle that keeps resisting us. A wall is what keeps us awake at night. A wall or a stronghold drains our strength. And a wall or a stronghold makes us wonder, Lord, how am I going to go through this? Maybe there is a wall in your family right now. Maybe there is a stronghold in your health today, a stronghold in your finances that you cannot break through into your finances, a wall in your marriage right now as we speak. Maybe there is a wall in your spiritual growth today, a wall. You prayed about it, you cried about it, you walk away from it, but somehow, somewhere, it's still there. That is a wall or a stronghold. The hardest part of a stronghold, after a while, our walls start talking to us. A stronghold has a voice. They speak to us after a while.